Serious? Students of Reddit, how do you stay motivated during the school year? The end goal. Fantasize about being able to independently afford your own apartment, food, and a dog. That motivates me. I work hard so I can afford a comfy life for my future shelter dogs. This is a sort of a silly one, but I always have a yummy snack while I'm doing my math homework. I don't eat this treat at any other time. It makes me look forward to my least favorite activity. Really good way of conditioning yourself, actually. You can achieve the same thing by doing something you love as soon as you wake up, like playing video games or watching your favorite TV show, and so you don't mind waking up in the morning as much. I make to-do lists every night and stay incredibly organized, stay on top of assignments, studying, etc. I don't allow myself to get into the habit of missing classes, and I reward myself and truly relax when I can. I try not to carry my school issues home, so once I'm home and I'm laying on the couch watching TV, then I focus on really actually relaxing. If I could give any advice to anyone who is struggling to find motivation, take things a week at a time. It all comes to an end, and the job of your dreams and a degree of your choice in the future means so much more than the stress you're enduring now. It's not the end of the world, and you will be so proud of yourself at the end. What you said about letting yourself actually relax is so true. I hate when I let myself slip into that zone when I'm supposed to be working, but I keep doing the whole "this video is only 5 minutes long" thing, sometimes for hours. It only makes me more stressed. I've grown to much prefer actually getting some work done and then doing something I really enjoy. College student here. I remind myself how blessed I am to even be in this position, to be in college. A stepping stone to a great career, a place to think, learn, socialize and grow. Yet still despise it at times and wish I wasn't there. Here is the question to ask yourself: where would you be instead? Does the answer to that outweigh the opportunity cost of being in college? If that is so, please do not go to college and pursue this other venture that is clearly more rewarding for you. Haha, I know, you're right. Just don't know what else I'm supposed to do. College degree is like HS graduation nowadays. I need to get away from my dad. I want a future with a lot of money and possibilities, and my degree provides both. I want to prove my dad wrong. I want to rub it in his face. Keep it up. It'll be worth it in the end. My wife had a horrible family situation, yet she managed to get through school all through her own effort. In my country, everything pre-university was a joke, so I just did the bare minimum. Played a lot of WoW and watched anime. I planned on studying physics when I finished and enjoyed all of the relevant subjects. My grades were not fantastic, didn't matter too much. Now that I'm at uni level, all I can say is suffering is equivalent to learning. My coping mechanism now consists of studying in groups and circle jerking about how much I must hate myself considering the suffering I inflict upon myself. Studying at 150% can be intense, although I'd assume people who have to work and study to afford it all have it a lot worse. In reality, I'm having a lot of fun though, and the subjects are very interesting. In the evenings I play some Overwatch with the lads to relax. Realize that suffering equals learning. Suffering now feels a lot less bad. I think a lot of students are unprepared for university, and that's a big reason why people fail, at least at my school. Kids don't know how to study or budget time because they've never had to. Video games and music. Seriously, school depresses me an awful lot. Meaningless homework and stupid-ass teachers, it gets me depressed, man. Video games takes me to a whole new world and I feel like I actually matter. Plus, music calms me down. I highly recommend Witcher 3 and Fallout New Vegas for video games. My favorite of the Fallout games, currently working to take over the Legion. Seeing a good portion of my classmates around in the back of the lecture hall jerking each other off and then wondering why they failed at the end of the semester. Who wants to be that guy, right? That's pretty good motivation for me. Those same kids that get mad at you for getting an A and breaking the grading curve, the worst. Changed majors and started paying for it myself. First one was a relief. Second was not my own choice and pretty scary at first. Both gave perspective on the fact that it was spending a large amount of money on a personal investment. The realization that you are going into debt to provide a life for your future self in a career that you actually enjoy is a great motivator for learning. Let's get this over with is my motto. I like what I study in computer science, but working is way better at doing both right now. If I fail, I'll have to wait more to not think about homework or studying anymore. I'm in my last year of my undergrad. I work a full-time job in my career field, and I'm pregnant with my first child who is due 2 weeks before my last college class ends. I've come too far not to finish. Too much blood, too much sweat, too many sacrifices in job, life, and money to stop now when I'm just so close. I want my child to know that you can do it. That no dream is too lofty to reach if you refuse to give up on it. I want to get paid as much as my co-workers with degrees. I want the professional respect that comes with a degree, and at this point, the thing keeping me going is all I've sacrificed to get this far, and how close I am to finishing. I believe in you, but you don't need it. Good job. Remember my goals and consider my alternatives, namely doing my summer job year-round with little to no prospects for something better. Though the latter worked better in my undergrad, now it's mostly the former part. Thinking about how I can't do life plan A without going all the way, and I don't want to be 40 doing something else wondering if I just stuck it out, I'd be happier. Well, mostly because I want to get my degree and hopefully earn enough money to take my parents on vacation. They've had a rough life trying to pay for my private school and university. I want to one day surprise my parents with plane tickets to wherever the place they want to go. Find a way to make time for yourself and things you enjoy, even if it's just for a few minutes a day. It allows you to relax and clear your head and go back to whatever homework or studying you were doing more prepared. I've also found that music without lyrics or music in a language I don't understand is extremely helpful to help tune out everything else. Definitely agree. If you don't take time to yourself, you'll get burnt out pretty quickly. As a former student, some advice. After you graduate and start working, chances are your job is going to typically feel like that busy work type of homework you get in a couple of classes right now, but just that for 40 hours a week. You're currently able to study varied topics, take classes that interest you, solve problems, and have a schedule that changes every few months. Enjoy it and put the work in, because it really feels good to have your mind working in tip-top shape as opposed to the drudgery of the workforce. I feel stupider every day. I got this idea from Jordan Peterson. Think of your ideal life in the future. The life you would have if you did everything you were supposed to do, basically. And then think of the opposite. What would be a terrible life? I think it's better if you take your time to legitimately think about it. But you should be able to quickly think of something, unless you've literally never once thought about your future. So anyways, now you have two visions of what your life could be. You don't want to have that horrible life, do you? You want a good life, obviously. Well, then you better go do what you're supposed to be doing. It's a pretty simple idea, but I think it really helps to just think about the life you want and the life that you would hate to have. Thanks, I like that one. Music and going to work. Music for me when I'm working on school stuff keeps me somewhat sane. Also, when I'm at work, I'm kind of forced to not think of school, so it is refreshing. It also sucks because I can feel like I'm getting behind, but I balance it out and things end up okay most of the time. First year vet student here with 4 years of undergrad and a BS under my belt. Keep your eyes on the horizon is the biggest piece of advice I have. Probably a good 3/4 of my undergrad degree was filler or gen hoops to jump through to keep the class I'm in competitive enough to do well in vet school. The semesters where I focused on that and got bitter were the worst semesters. Instead, focus on the classes that are relevant and get excited about them. Tell your friends. If you have good friends, they'll be enthusiastic even if they don't understand. Make sure you keep the real world relevant too. Go volunteer in the field you're trying to get into. Find a group of like-minded people, etc. And don't be afraid to take time for yourself if you need it. Parties, relaxing, hobbies, and to push yourself if your schoolwork isn't. The year where I didn't have a sport and had lighter classes was the year that I gained weight and got 10 times more anxious. Most importantly though, focus on why you're there. Why do you want to be what you want to be? Do you just want it, or do you need it with every bit of yourself? For an easier degree, the former might suffice. For me, it had to be the latter. And keep your chin up. One bad exam does not make a failing grade make sense. I always thought of where I was going to end up when I procrastinate. You're procrastinating when you have an essay due tomorrow. There goes your GPA. Try harder. Come on. I take a break when I need it and try and do something productive like make my bed or put a few pieces of clothing away. I find that if I go trolling on Reddit, I'm here for hours. Mainly I think about my future and where I will hopefully end up if I stay dedicated. Well, the money I'm paying to be there helps a lot. Not gonna lie though, if you've ever worked in fast food, you're gonna see the older people that work there, 40s to 60s. I worked with a woman who was nearing 80 years old. When you see them working there, like that, all I can think to myself is, that would be me if I didn't finish up at school. I go to an extremely tough high school, top 15 in the country, and it can be extremely difficult. But to stay motivated, my friends and I try to bike around or hang out every week or two to clear our minds of the angst. This may not seem like much, but it makes my school life enjoyable because I can actually look forward to school because I'll be seeing them. Also, the way they teach is more about learning and a lot less about testing and grades, which helps. When I was in school, particularly graduate school, I found that not falling behind and staying on top of things really helped. I did much better in graduate school than undergraduate. I also found graduate school to be substantially easier, despite covering harder content. It's pretty astonishing what a few years of work experience will do for your perspective and ability to get stuff done. Anyways, if I stayed on top of things and did assignments shortly after they were assigned, I would stay more engaged in the class. The feeling of being behind and having to play catch up is absolutely miserable. I can catch up, but it's a big demotivator for me because I realize it's going to require a large effort to do so. Much better to simply not allow yourself to come close to falling behind.